Hello everyone, my name is Noah Trappier. I am a jeweler, I'm a gem cutter, I am an entity, I am a product, I am an object, I'm a redhead, I am gay, I am 24 years old, and I am here to do a little creator vlog. So, if that is something you would be interested in, join me. Come along, like, subscribe, whatever you gotta do. That was a lot, but I'm a bold person. I believe in representing the energy we want to see from others in the world. And I believe in being bold. I believe in being energetic, sometimes a little bit chaotic. So that is the energy I'm bringing to the table. So I've watched a lot of creator artist vlogs on YouTube, and I love them. I love seeing the authenticity, I love seeing the background process, but more so kind of the business side. I mean, the business side, but also the engaging with customers, engaging with projects, coming up with ideas, dealing with creative blocks and roadblocks and creative barriers that may be in the way. So, I decided I would like to do my own creator vlog for you starting today. I'm not waiting at all. I was going to wait and do this tomorrow morning, so I'm going to do this right now instead. I'm just going to record a bunch and I'm going to break it apart. This video, I'm going to dive into several of the projects that I've been working on recently, and really this is a way for me to introduce myself to a wider audience and a bit more authentically and a bit more inclusive of the life behind the artistry. So, without further ado, I create faceting diagrams custom for individual stones that I have to save the most weight, to create something really unique. I think it's important to create custom stones once you're at that level. And I've run into a bit of a roadblock. Like, it's usually quite easy for me to build a shape together, and I've just found with a square, for some reason it's like really challenging for me to create something new. So I'm working with some Baryon cuts, which maybe I'll be able to include in this video, if not maybe down below. But a Baryon cut, which is a step cut or rectangular shaped facets on the top side or the crown of the stone, and then brilliant cuts or diamond or triangular facets on the bottom. Now that can really bring to life certain stones, and what I'm working on now is an emerald. So hopefully that works. Okay, I've talked a lot, but how am I? How am I doing? I'm good. I'm going to have some coffee, or as I call it, garbage water. I started calling coffee garbage water because I would get a literal 32-ounce cold brew from this place in Tucson that I love, and it tasted really bad, but for some reason I just got addicted to this coffee. So when people ask me what it tastes like, I say trash water. So if you're also addicted to cold brew, maybe you'll join me. Hashtag trash water. Okay, I'm great. I'm doing excellent. One reason I know I'm doing great is because I'm discovering new music. Whenever I'm finding new music that I can jam to, like dance to, uninhibited, completely sober, I know I'm doing great. I know that I'll be great because when I find a good song, I'll play it for a year. Like every time I'm in the car playing music, I'll play that song. So suffice it to say, finding new music has been a gift recently, and that a lot of my favorite artists have been releasing music, which is great, but then there's also new artists that I'm finding, friends that have introduced me to new artists. I'm really bananas about Sophie Hunter. I've just recently discovered Sophie Hunter. Oh my goodness. What an entity. What a being. Icon. Icon, icon, icon. I think there's a lot of conversations to be had around the energy we express in music and art, because I, for one, have used whatever art or creative process I've been working on as a way of expressing the energy, the feelings inside. And sometimes those are negative, sometimes those are not the easiest emotions. So when it comes to the creative process, sometimes, even if it's not explicit, even if it's not a consumable energy for others, I find that it can be a way for people, for artists, to channel that energy into something healthy. I think that's what it is. Especially for me, because when you're angry, when you're mad, and when you're sad, you can make poor decisions, you can make rash decisions. Pouring yourself into art, I think, is really hard to become a bad decision, you know? Like, if you're just creating art, and the energy that you are using to build and create so happens to be from a negative moment, a negative time, I think what it really does is art is a way to channel negative emotions, negative energy, negative experiences into something healthy, because you're able to walk yourself through something. And what do I mean by that? I don't know exactly. But for me, per se, when I have had a rough time, and then I look at my inanimate rocks, my gemstones, and I put a lot of care into them, and I put a lot of time and energy in thinking what is going to be best for this inanimate thing that will last eternity, and how do I facilitate that process to the best of my abilities. When you have then put 10, 12, 20 hours into something that is not you, that is detached from yourself, and that really has no relation to you or your story, it can help us see ourselves in a different light. It can help us see ourselves as the connection between life experience and lived experience. Between what I've been through and how I connect who I am and what I've been through to others and to the rest of the world. Life experience and lived experience. And now, I'm sure by any pure definition, they're exactly the same thing. But in this context, and the way I'm framing it in this setup, is that we take our life experience, we take whatever's happened to us, we take what we feel like we're owed, or in the ways we've been wronged or betrayed, and we put it into something that's not us, into something that may not be living, into something that may be an object. Maybe it's a painting, maybe it's a sculpture, whatever it is, putting it into something that can tell a story, that can tell somebody about lived experience. And I think that's really powerful. I think that's where my gemstones, especially from several years ago, connect with the work of somebody like Sophie Hunter or Ashanika, or people who express what seems like aggressive, sometimes negative energy through their art, through their music, whatever, is that they are bridging that gap. They are the connection, they're the link between painful life experience and a universal lived experience. So I think that's where I am on music. But that's something that's really been on my mind and something I've been processing. I think it also comes into the topic of conversation at museums and gallery spaces, where especially strong-minded individuals, will curate a space to the tens with emotionally provocative works of art. And I love it. I will feast on emotionally deep art for the rest of my life, and I will try to create it as well. And my dog just sighed at me. Co-star? Ace. I want to create art that makes people feel deeply. And for the people who are willing to go there, I want to provide something. For people like me. I think for a long time I never saw myself building a art piece or building a business designed for people like me, but then I find at every turn that is what I'm doing. I'm making provocative jewelry for people who would wear it like myself. I'm making tools for people who do what I do. Tucson is coming up. Tucson! Woo! I really wish I could be that way about Tucson. So we're going, me and my partner are going in February for the gem and mineral shows, but also mainly to represent our company at the Faceter Symposium, so I'm really excited about that. Beyond that, we're gonna go to some restaurants we really enjoy out there and maybe go on a little hike. My first time in Tucson was 2017 with my best friend in high school. She invited me to where her mom had just moved. It was really cool. I remember I flew a bottle of vodka in my suitcase. I think that says a lot about me. I was a bold teenager, to say the least. But regardless, we were there for spring break, and we had an excellent time. Her mom, I realized, was kind of outside of downtown Tucson, so when we went into downtown, it felt like a very special place. Like, it felt very unique. The weather was excellent. Her mom lived with, space to hike around and close to a lot of parks. I really loved that. We drove through fields and desert patches. It just felt really surreal, especially from Indiana. It was kind of like you had the Midwest, cornfields, the tropics, like tropical Florida, tropical Costa Rica, palm trees, and then you had like desert. That didn't seem like an option to me as far as living went. So when I moved away from California, I moved to Arizona because I had that experience, but I also worked the gem show back in 2022. And I worked for one of my former bosses from California. Two of them, actually. And I helped them run their gem shows. And during the gem show, you see, it's the largest gem show on planet Earth. Is in Tucson, Arizona. Now, you go to Tucson, you go to Hong Kong, you go to Germany, and then you're like, why Tucson? But the truth is, there's a lot of history with the Gem Society there, and the show happening there. Now it's so much more than one show. You think of a craft show, you think of a trade show, you're vaguely in the same space, even in a convention center may be large, but it's the same place. The Tucson Gem Show is many, many gem shows. I'm probably over a dozen independent shows. And they're huge. Some of them are just massive. And lots of business happens there. So I had my trip there in high school with my best friend where we had fun teenage times. Great. I had gem show successful. The thing is about the gem show is that it feels like a different place. especially for me working. Like, me working during the gem show in Tucson was like a whole different world. And when I was done, I went to bed. So I went working, maybe a little shopping because I'm a gem cutter, I needed my gems. And then I went straight to bed because I had to work another 10, 12-hour day. So, moving to Tucson, let's just say I had different expectations for what it was going to be. I didn't have much money at all, and it was just, it felt good to kind of choose my own destiny, if that makes sense. Even when it's hard, that sometimes just making a decision that you know is your own is powerful. Even if it's shitty, even if it sucks. So, I've lived in Tucson for the better part of a year. I've worked there, and I've done the gem shows twice now. And this is now my third time going. So what I'm really excited about is that we're not going for weeks, number one. We're going for several days. And we're going with a lot of purpose. Like, we're going to places, to be around people, to see things that I've seen before, and get our stones and get out of there. I'm meeting some people there that I know, but it's not going to be as high stakes. I feel like it's always been really high stakes when I've been there in the past, so here's to low stakes Tucson this year. Not low stakes, because I'm going to make a big impact. I'm going to be giving a speech about woodlap. I'm going to be meeting a lot of jewelers that I feel like I want to talk to now, like I really want to engage with, that I've either talked to online and not so much in person, or haven't talked to at all. So I'm just really excited. I want to be a part of that world, even though I'm just starting. I'll get there. So, I should get into the jewels a bit. So I've finished several pieces recently that I'm really proud of, but I want to show some of my in-progress pieces. So these first two are from a cast I did about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. This one I'm really excited about is going to be a ring for a marquee, aquamarine, and you'll have to stay tuned. It'll be a claw setting, but also a kind of a semi-bezel to just protect those ends. I don't know how this is going to finish up entirely, just because the second side of the semi-bezel needs to come in a bit more. I don't know. So I have an aquamarine ring, sterling silver, that I'm working on. From the same one, I have this zircon setting. So this is going to be a pendant, kind of still a part of that sharper style that I've been working with recently, but I just did the liver of sulfur treatment, so you can kind of see that darker tinge on the backdrop. So hopefully that'll be a nice little contrast between the golden stone and the silver. And I'm kind of trying to play with those, breaking those limits, and not really worrying about the color match, because I think the colors will match if the effort is there and the right design is there. I think you can make a lot work. I think things are a lot more flexible. I was worried to put a gold with a silver, but I think now it's kind of the direction I want to go to. So the next kind of set of designs that I've been developing in this last cast that I did a few days ago, the goal was to, one, be a bit more bold with the shapes, be a bit more expressive, but then also leave recessions, to also leave areas that could be filled with enamel, to add a little bit more color in the same energy of providing contrast and complements for both the stone and the metal. So this one I haven't done much with yet. It'll be for a rutile stone, synthetic rutile. And you can see kind of, that's the shape of the stone, is the outline of the ring. So it'll kind of go hand in hand, but you can see unfilled those little cavities where I'm going to be enameling some different colors in. So I've been practicing with that. And this is for the first stone I provided a custom design for. It's a Pala tourmaline, a pink tourmaline, really included. So I really wanted to provide a tough setting for it, like a really protective setting. And I ended up with this. I'm still polishing and cleaning up the edges of the enamel. But as you can see, will likely be a pendant to kind of sit against the chest, either vertically or maybe a bit higher horizontally. But you can see those prongs are going to be holding that tourmaline right in between the enameled bits. I was going to go for a mauve, like a pastel mauve, but it was interacting weird with the silver. And then this will be for a green barrel I cut. Not too long ago. It was a lot of work, and again, an included stone, so I wanted it to be very protective. As you can see, it's a very unique shape. This will be a ring to be worn as so. Middle finger, index finger. I really, really enjoy it. And what I did on both of these was enamel where the stone is going to go. As you can see, I need to grind away a little bit of the outside of the enamel. But enamel, backdrop of the stone, and counter enamel on the back. That was what I saw kind of being recommended, and after playing around with it some, I think that's a good idea, because I want to learn to engrave as well. So when I can engrave the backs, I think that will be an additional complement. So that is what I'm working on, jewelry-wise, and eventually all of those pieces will come together and be finished. I think I'll dive into now some of the pieces I've finished recently. And some of them I still have to put on chains, but I'm still going to consider them finished as pendants because it's a lot of work. Having these in front of me, it feels kind of surreal that I've like made this many pieces already, because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like I've still kind of just started, and I'm not wearing them because I don't want to break them or anything, so I guess that's also why it kind of feels weird. But one that I did recently, this is a bit more traditional, but kind of bulky. I'm going to say I'm not like in love with it. I may wear it, but I may just keep it for somebody else. It's a indicolite ring, which is kind of heavy. It's pretty, beautiful, sterling silver again. All of my pieces so far are sterling. And it has a nice open back underneath. That's kind of nice. So it's a good pinky ring, although I did kind of chip the crown while I was setting it. What I'm really happy about though is that when I was first trying to set stones and I would order generic settings, they would not be the right shape and they would not be the right size prong for the stone. And the issue you run into is that if it's not the right size and it's not the right thickness of prong for the type of material, it's so much more likely to fall out. What I'm really loving about all of these custom design, custom set stones that I've done is that they don't move. Like, they don't move. Unless they're run over by a Kia, but that is a story for another day. I'm not ready to tell that story yet. What else? So that is a zircon ring that I finished a while back, a couple weeks ago now. Really, really love the shape of this ring. A really organic shape. I'm going to do a pinky again. A really organic shape. I feel like this would stack well with a lot of other rings, especially the organic shaped stackables. This would go really well with them. Plus, it's really light. This and the aquamarine ring that I'm working on are really light, so that's very, very nice. Excellent. Wearable piece. 2 rings that I've just finished are a whole new kind of concept that I've had of tilting the setting. So in my design program, literally just tilting the setting to about 30, 45 degrees, something like that, to kind of project the stone outward, out from your hand, as so. So this is a garnet ring. The shield shape of the ring is similar to the shield shape of the stone. Excellent. And also excellent is the underneath. I'm really trying to pay attention to the backs and the bottoms of my pieces just trying to hone in on every detail of the work, because that's what matters. So that's a Malaya garnet. This is a rubellite tourmaline. Rubellite is hugely, hugely valuable. So I knew I needed something special for this piece. And just look at that tilt. Like, it screams at you. The stone wants to be seen. The stone wants to be appreciated. So what I love about this is you can be kind of selfish and take all of the beauty of looking straight down on the stone and reverse it, point it back at you. That way, whenever I look down at my hand, I can see all the juiciness of that rubellite. Ugh. This stone makes me happy. This was also, this kind of concept set was the first one I've been able to kind of get out there, really, to the crowd that I want criticism from. And I haven't really gotten much criticism, but I need it. I need more criticism for my work so I can get better. So, while I'm appreciative of all of the positive feedback, I'm also prepared for the negative feedback. I'm prepared for the this is wrong. Because you know what? It really did make me better as a faceter. And it's already, even the slightest criticism in jewelry has made me push myself. So I think that's very important. As long as it's not too mean. I don't think anybody's been mean about my work, though, like, ever. So we'll see as I go onto YouTube more. This piece is, I really love this, and I've set it in this pendant. This is the perfect opportunity to show you guys one of the best gifts I think I've ever received. And they are these custom jewelry cleaning wipes, polishing wipes. So this is the piece, first of all. But these wipes are for every piece that I will have going out, and they come in this incredible packaging. Trappier, Noah Trappier, custom jewelry polishing wipes, courtesy of my amazing partner. And the piece now, it's a rhodolite garnet. I believe it's about 3 carats, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head. A fully custom cut. You can see kind of have that beautiful symmetrical, asymmetrical effect going on with the leaf pattern, and really accentuated by these bits that will eventually hold the necklace. I'm just obsessed with that color. I'm obsessed with the color combination with a nice juicy red and silver. I think it's really stunning. And I did a liver of sulfur treatment too on the inside cavity. You can kind of see that contrast there. It's a bit brighter in the light, so I may just show a video. But been able to get a nice polish on these two. But trying to progress and get an even finer polish on things, or even a satin effect, maybe more of a brushed style. I think I've always appreciated that style of jewelry a bit more. I mean, of course, like, you know that work goes into that fine polish, but there's something about that satin-esque aesthetic that I think really lends itself to the sparkly, smooth luster of the stone. That contrast, I think, is really important for adding depth to pieces. So that's where I stand. So we've talked about jewelry, we've talked about Tucson and stone design. Let's see, what am I looking forward to? I'm super excited to be working on some new products for the company my partner and I run, Woodlap LLC. Very exciting. What we've done so far in the industry has been insane. Like, it has blown my mind what we've been able to accomplish. And it's not just numbers, it's the people we've been able to connect with, the stones we've been able to see polished and created using our tools. That is very impactful. It's helping people learn how to facet, which that really makes me feel good, because that is a lifelong goal of mine, is to help people learn how to facet. Our products are already doing that, so I feel really proud about that. The next products we'll be releasing are more in the breadth of carving, gemstone carving, which is an even more intricate artistic skill to develop, and jewelers. So people diving into the field that I'm diving into, people who do this professionally, will be able to benefit from the tools we'll be making. So in that, we've also learned how to use different wood crafting machinery, and all of it is just cumulative. And I'm really grateful for that experience. That, kind of like the websites, it wasn't what I saw myself doing for a long time, but how they have worked hand in hand. The gem cutting, the community building, the goal of helping people get better at the skill has come via the transitive property of learning how to woodwork and learning how to develop new wood-related products for people and how to sell them to people and how to bring them to people. It's been a wild ride, and it's been a huge undertaking to be responsible for that, not just now, but knowing that people will want it probably 10 years from now. Some rendition of the same thing, so knowing that I still want to be in that position then. Anything could happen. I want to continue that journey and expand upon it and grow it, because I think it deserves to be. Just being able to talk about this journey and exchange about our products with people who are going to use them, who already do use them. Hundreds of these laps are out in the world, so it's really exciting. It hasn't been a year yet. We're coming up on a year. In March, beginning of March, will be 1 year in business. So it's exciting and a lot to look forward to. So I think that's the end of my first clip, but we will see after I do some editing where we will end up. If all is good with me, then I will see you guys in the next video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Again, I'm gonna probably do these videos a different way in the future, so let me know what you think. Maybe some fun ideas, and I'll see you next time. My name is Noah Trappier, and have a wonderful rest of your day. See you later. Boop, boop.